We're going to go to Darrell Blocker. Joe Biden comes into this presidency at a time that this nation is under threats from both foreign and domestic threats. Former CIA Director of Operations and ABC News contributor Darrell Blocker joins me now with more on what a Biden presidency means to the intelligence community. Darrell, thank you so much for being here. You know, how much of an impact does the commander-in-chief have on the intelligence community in general, and how much of an impact do you think this commander-in-chief will have?
I think the impact of this commander-in-chief will be significant. So I had the honor of working for 6 presidents, 4 Republican, 2 Democrat, from Reagan to Trump. But Trump came into the job without the experience that all the others had, and clearly didn't have the experience within the government, within the national security apparatus that President Biden brings to the table.
And so what are some of the key challenges you think President Biden faces when it comes to threats from overseas?
So I typically try to separate them into state actors or non-state actors. If you're looking at non-state, you're talking terrorism, you're talking the cyber threats, the things that we're seeing in the news on the daily. In terms of the nation-state threats, I would place North Korea at the top, and not taking away the threat that China and Russia present, but North Korea is more of a wild card. And Kim Jong-un has been unnecessarily quiet for quite some time. And I've been studying the North Korea issue since the late 80s, when his grandfather was the leader. So when they go quiet, that's when the intelligence community starts to get a little concerned. So North Korea, I think, is an issue. Iran, of course, is always a concern. And then the proxies that they might have, Hezbollah, Hamas, and those threats that come through a counterterrorism perspective.
And what about domestic threats? It's just 2 weeks ago today that we saw an insurrection at the Capitol. What can the Biden administration do to address extremists here at home?
I think it's going to take not just the administration, but our entire nation to look at the threat of what the intelligence community calls homegrown violent extremists. If you're reading the news, you'll see militia inspired, you'll see domestic extremists. They're all under the same umbrella. But homegrown means our folks that are grown here in the Montanas of the world, that are grown in the Michigans of the world, that are grown here in Southern California. So they're not influenced, so to speak, by an Al-Qaeda or an ISIS, but how they're brought into this world of extremism is the same. They get exposed to it. They start to see it a lot. Then they start to maybe believe that someone in their world is basically being put down by the government, and then words turn into actions turn into terrorist threats. So I think this administration, particularly from the team that Biden and Harris have chosen, I worked with Tony Blinken during my time as the deputy director on the Counterterrorism Center. He was Joe Biden's national security advisor. I worked with Leonard Thomas Greenfield, who is going to be the United Nations, and I worked with Avril Haines when she was deputy director of the CIA. So you have experience, you have people who are known to be listeners, you have people who are known to reach across political divides and always trying to look for a resolution as opposed to how to escalate a problem. They're always looking to de-escalate.
All right. Former CIA Director of Operations, Darrell Blocker. Darrell, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.